WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
All right, I'm going to tell you a little story from when I was a kid going to Sunday school in church. Are you ready for this?
I'm set.
All right. So I got to Sunday school, and I was older than my younger brother, of course. That makes no sense. That makes all sense, right? That's obvious. Anyway, my younger brother went to a different Sunday school time or whatever. So the point is, I got to church first, right? And I went to my Sunday school class. So my brother, Bill, comes into the church, to Sunday school, and he says, look what I found on my way to church. I found a $10 bill. And I said, oh, man, I walk the same way you do. How come I didn't find a $10 bill?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Not only did I start first, but I ended first. So then I walked home. And he came home after me. And guess what he said? Look what I found on the way home. A $20 bill. I said, wait a minute. I walked home the same way you walked home. You found $30 so far. I said, let's go outside and find some money. Okay. So we walk out to the street, and I called my friend Robert. And I said, Robert, Billy found $30. You want to help us look for money? Sure. So Robert comes over, right? And then Robert and Bill are finding 20s and more 20s. It was all 20s except for that 110.
Did you find any?
I found one. I found 120.
Oh, my gosh.
But anyway, so it was a total of $150. My father was a policeman. He says, you can't keep that money. That's probably somebody's paycheck. I don't know how it ended up on the street, but we have to put an ad in the paper.
Yeah.
We have to put an ad in the paper, and it has to run, and if nobody claims it in a month, then I guess you guys can have it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so my father put an ad in the newspaper. He took the $150, he put it high up on a shelf, even though I was tall. He put it high up on a shelf, and we couldn't touch it. We were told, don't touch this money. And he said, we have, in the ad, it says something like, we have the money. If it's yours, somehow prove it, and you can come get it. And nobody ever called. Mm-hmm. Nobody even tried to guess how much was there. It was just, back in those days, I guess.
People were honest.
Anyway, so at the end of the month, here's what I'm trying to get to. Here's the point I want to make. At the end of the month, $50 went to Robert, 50 went to Bill, and 50 went to me.
Uh-huh.
Right? Mm-hmm. My brother Bill bought a telescope.
Nice.
He bought a telescope. I don't know what Robert bought. I think I bought a cassette recorder or something. Mm-hmm. But Bill bought a telescope, and that telescope was so used. I mean, everybody took that telescope out. This was on Long Island, so you gotta remember the sky is not as, it's got a lot of lights. Mm-hmm. You couldn't see up into the sky as clearly as you can, like in the more rural areas, Mm-hmm. So anyway, so whenever I see a book like the one we're going to talk about, I'm always taken back to those days when I would be out in the backyard with Billy's telescope,
yes,
trying to see the craters on the moon and whatever else we could see. And it was such a sense of fascination for all of us in the neighborhood. Andrew Fazekas is on the phone. He is known as the Night Sky Guy. He's a science writer, a speaker, a syndicated correspondent for television and radio, a communications manager for Astronomers Without Borders. He writes the column called Starstruck, and he's written for National Geographic, and that's the book. It's a National Geographic book called Backyard Guide to the Night Sky. If you're watching the streaming video, you don't see the camera on Robin and me. You see a cover of the book.
Yes.
And for some reason, that is a fascinating thing to me. I don't know. It must start back with finding that $10 bill that I didn't find. Andrew Fazekas, I'm sorry for the long intro, but I had to tell that story. Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning, guys.
Yeah. So tell me, when did you get an interest in the cosmos? When did that happen for you?
It happened really at a very early age for me, and it's thanks to my dad. I grew up in downtown Montreal, Canada, a big urban center. We lived in an apartment building, and he would take me up to the rooftop of this 15th floor building, and my dad had a small department store telescope, just a very small, modest one. I just remember probably the age of 4 or 5, some of my earliest memories of sitting on his lap and my dad showing me the craters of the moon, Jupiter and its moons, and the rings of Saturn, and it just sparked in me some kind of of curiosity that has lasted my entire life, and here I am, over 40 years later, and I've taken my hobby and created basically a career out of it, and that where I love to share my passion, and I do that for the universe through television, radio. I write columns. I go do workshops. I do star parties, and this book is really a culmination of all these decades of experience of looking at the night sky, answering people's questions, really teaching them, taking them by hand and helping them navigate the night sky. And this is the dream project for me to finally have my own guidebook where I have all the tips and tricks that I've learned over the years that I can share with people.
Have these star charts changed a huge lot since Galileo?
Oh my goodness, very much so. The star charts are really, it's like opening up a map to a new city and learning where to go. Now we have, of course, a lot of digital technology around us. We use smartphones and tablets and things like that to navigate, but it's still at heart, it's still about maps. It's about going from point A to point B and knowing how to get there. And when it comes to the night sky, is merely understanding where is that point A and what is that point A anyway, what I'm looking at. And this book really kind of reveals a lot of those twinkling lights in the sky on what they are, and helps you navigate and understand and appreciate what the true nature of those objects in the sky are. So charts are really important, and it's at the heart of this book is a whole sets of charts based on seasons. As the seasons change, so do the night sky constellations. And I've made sure I've put some very special charts in here that actually are sort of what we call star hopping charts. And this is a key to really, I feel, in my experience, is understanding the night sky. And it's something that I've been doing for decades and getting people acquainted with the sky within minutes. And it's so, within about 15, 20 minutes of being outside under the stars, you can start learning to hop around from one section of the sky to the next, and it really starts unlocking some of those mysteries of the sky.
Oh my gosh. So if you were going to take me outside at night into the backyard with a telescope, and I knew nothing, and that's pretty much where I am. I don't know much. I know where the moon is,
In the Big Dipper.
And I think I can figure. I think I remember how to figure out where the North Star is. Right? You use the Big Dipper, and you kind of make a line right from the edge of it, something like that.
You bet, exactly. Using the two stars at the end of the bowl, exactly.
So I just told you everything I know. So what would you teach me? What's a good thing that you could maybe tell me on the phone right now that I could go out tonight and maybe look for?
Well, definitely, there's a few things. First off, you've got the moon. We're talking on basically on a time when we have a full moon. It started happening last night into this morning and into tonight. So when it gets dark tonight, you'll see a very shortly after local sunset, looking towards the east, you'll see this huge silvery orb rising, and this is what we're calling, of course, in the media, the supermoon. It means basically that the moon is at its closest point to the Earth that it can get in its trip around our planet every month, and this makes it very, very impressive, very an eye-catching sight. And if you have even a pair of binoculars, you can start looking at the topography of the moon very easily, all laid out in front. We always talk about the man in the moon, where these dark splotches that are on the moon. Well, those are actually lava plains on the moon. Those are areas where we've landed. The Apollo sites 50 years ago, we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of Apollo mission. You can actually go and kind of pick out those spots using this guidebook of where on that map of the moon where we landed. Now, you're not going to see the American flag. You're not going to see the lunar rover. Even with the best telescope, Hubble can't even show you that. The Hubble can't. But you can identify where generally on the moon you can see it. Now, with that said, There's also planets that you can see. If you look towards the southwestern sky just after sunset, you turn around from the moon and you look towards the southwest, you'll see an orangey red star hanging halfway up the sky. Guess what? It's not a star. It's planet Mars. You can't miss it. It looks like a beautiful orangey red distinctive star right now, visible the next few weeks. So what you're looking at is our neighboring planet. You hear so much about Mars in the news in terms of NASA exploring it, right, with the rovers and everything. Well, you can have kind of like this your own visceral attachment to the planet by actually seeing it. You can, with the naked eye, you see the color of Mars, that reddish orange color. That's caused by the dust, the Martian dust that enshrouds the entire surface of Mars. It's filled with iron oxide. It's like kind of rusting particles, you can think of it. And that has that distinctive orangey color that the sunlight shines on it and then it reflects back. Imagine that light beam travels for about 10 minutes to reach us. Mars is about 150 million miles away from us, and it takes us that long for the light to reach your eye when you're looking at it. And if you have a telescope, even a backyard telescope will show you it as a disk, and you can see the mottled covering of it, where there's actually sand dunes and where there's cratered regions. The polar caps of Mars are visible. So that's just in the evening sky, guys. I could even go on and talk about the morning sky. There's that stuff everywhere.
That's so exciting. Can I take a moment here just to promote? There is a planetarium, is that what it's called, Robin?
Yes.
Up at Santa Fe College, not the University of Florida. It's right next to it.
Yeah.
It used to be a community college, now it's called State College, right?
Yeah.
And so if you ever get a chance, go up there. That guy knows his stuff. I hope he has your book. He probably doesn't need your book, but I need your book. So when you put can I ask you a question? How are you old enough to remember the moon landing, or was that before you look pretty young in the picture?
I was actually born the month after Apollo 11, and I have very, very vague memories of watching, probably Apollo 17 in December of 1972 when they landed on the black and white TV, watching them bounce around. But yeah, I mean, I just that age.
Yeah. And we live, not too far from Cape Canaveral, so we get to see, especially if it's a night launch, we get to see them pretty well, even though it's probably more than 100 miles from here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we can see them. But here's the thing, because we're old, the young people go, how come you're so fascinated with this? I don't know. I guess because we were kids, it was always a fascinating thing. But it's becoming like run of the mill for them. They're not that excited about the rockets anymore.
Well, there is a resurgence, though, in terms of the accessibility of space, and this is something that's really new. Thanks to the technology, the accessibility of space is like never before. We're talking about folks like our friend, billionaire friend Elon Musk, right, at SpaceX and Tesla. Right. He's building the next generation of rockets where he's thinking of taking actual tourists around the moon. Where there's talk about building hotels on the moon, having humans going on to Mars, and it's not just government agencies like NASA that's in the game. We're having private entities, even small companies that want to be taxi services for sending back and forth things onto the moon. This is kind of resurging the interest in space exploration. Also, this whole technology where you can actually control telescopes on the other side of the world. Like, I could actually have you log online, go onto a website, and you could control a telescope on the other side of the world where it's dark right now,
really?
Australia, open up the observatory doors, and you'll be able to take a picture of an exploding galaxy 1 billion light years away, and it'll pop up on your screen. And you've taken that photograph remotely with a telescope, thousands of miles away.
Oh, my gosh.
That's the kind of stuff that you can do today that does excite young people.
That
and
is
I talk
exciting.
about that in this book as well.
Okay, so tell me, how many years ago did that thing explode?
Well, there's a lot. There's so much other. Let's say a billion. There are galaxies out there that are billions of light years away. So, which means that you're talking about it not just distance but time. The two concepts, space and time, are connected, right? So when you look up into the sky, you're actually looking back in time. So when you look at the moon, for instance, tonight when it rises, it's about it's so far away. It takes just over a second for that moonlight to reach your eye. You look at the sun now shining in the sky. It's 8.5 light minutes away. When you look at a galaxy on the other side of the universe, it could be billions of light years away, which means it's taken billions of years for the light to reach your eye.
Okay, and I have a question based on that. Is it possible that we can see the light from the Big Bang moment when everything happened? I mean, is it possible to actually still see that light?
Well, that question that you're asking is what motivates astronomers tremendously. This is the holy grail. What you're talking about is reaching back as far back to the beginning of time. So the concept of the Big Bang, right, is where how the universe had started. And we have, with the Hubble Space Telescope, this wonderful discovery machine, we've been able to push back our vision of the beginning of the universe to see the very first galaxies, the first stars being born. And we're very close to being able to do that with the next generation of space telescopes, like the James Webb, that's going to replace the Hubble in the next 2 years. Once it opens its eye, we're going to be able to peer possibly as far back as maybe just 100 million years after the Big Bang. Now, that sounds like a lot, I know, guys, but you have to remember the universe is 13.7 billion years old. So to go back that far in time, where the universe was only maybe 100 or a couple of 100 million years old, is incredible. We're literally going to be able to see the very first stars beginning to shine.
Andrew, this is a well done book. I want to just real quickly say something to the audience, that in the book you have other things, like, for example, that birds use the stars to migrate. I had no idea.
Yeah, I mean, in nature, there's a deep connection between nature and the cosmos above, and light pollution, for instance, is a big thing of how that confuses a lot of species like turtles and birds in terms of their navigation. It's very important. In Florida, of course, the turtles are sea turtles, the hatchlings going back to the ocean is a big problem to have light pollution. So that I discuss that in the book as well, of what people can do to really help out with nighttime conservation.
This is probably a not so smart question, but if you do a constellation map in the northern hemisphere, is it the same as the constellation map in the southern hemisphere?
That's a good question. Actually, so it's not the same, actually. The southern hemisphere stars are different, but there's a lot of overlap. So if you're going to, say, Brazil, you'll still be able to see much of the same stars we see here in North America, but there'll be some added more constellations that are considered southern hemisphere constellations. And if you happen to be in Antarctica, well, then you'll see a lot different skies there, and some of the constellations that here that you're familiar with would be upside down when you're looking at them. It's a really surreal stargazing experience when you go to the southern hemisphere after living in the north.
Wow. All right, I know you have to run because you're doing a lot of these interviews. Thank you for taking time to spend with us. Andrew Fazekas is the author. The book is called What's it called again? Backyard Guide to the Night Sky. Andrew is the night sky guy.
Oh,
yeah. I found it on Amazon, where it's #1, by the way. Do you have a website you'd like to recommend in addition to Amazon?
Sure. You folks can come and visit me at thenightskyguide.com, and I've got more information about the book, photos of some of the pages, so you get a layout, and of course all my social media, Instagrams, Twitter, and Facebook links there. People can follow and see my sky chart updates daily on what you can see in the night sky wherever you are.
All right, very good. If you are a night sky guy or gal and you would like the book, call me right now. I'll just pick somebody at random, and it will be yours. 622-9622, and let me just pick one of these real quickly before we say goodbye to Andrew. Here we go. This one right here. Good morning. You've got the book. Who's this?
Good morning. This is Jim.
Jim, you got it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. It's waiting for you. Andrew, thank you so much for being on the air with us today.
It's truly been my pleasure, and I wish all of you and your listeners, of course, clear skies.
Thank you so much. What an awesome book. We'll be right back.
Winter Guard International Southeast Power Regionals are coming to CFE Arena at the University of Central Florida in Orlando on Saturday, March 23rd through Sunday, March 24th. This competition brings together the premier color guard ensembles in the region to compete for top honors ahead of the World Championship events in Dayton, Ohio in April. Tickets are available at the door only. For more information, visit www.wgi.org.
In this moment, who has your back? Do you know the name of your insurance agent? Does your agent know your name? Or would you call a 1-800 number that connects you to who? Another state? Another country? Get a local independent insurance agent with Auto Owners Insurance. Someone you can call when bad stuff happens. In this moment, get an agent who will protect you in that moment. Visit George Mangan Insurance in Ocala today at manganinsurance.com.
Hello, gorgeous.
Hi, this is Becky at Hello Gorgeous Salon. It's time to get that new look started. Let's get rid of those sun damaged ends and faded out color and get into something rich and vibrant. Humidity is not your hair's friend. It causes your hair to capture moisture and leaves it looking dry and unhealthy. Hello Gorgeous is a certified Brazilian blowout salon. We can tame those locks, leaving your hair healthy and shiny with a Brazilian smoothing treatment. So let us help you make a great first impression. Call us today to set your appointment at Hello Gorgeous. Our number is 352-351-5358. Again, that's 352-351-5358. And don't forget, we also do men and children's cuts too. 351-5358. Hello Gorgeous is conveniently located in the heart of downtown Ocala. So call today and set up your appointment at Hello Gorgeous Salon at 351-5358. That's 351-5358.
Hello, gorgeous.
Scusa, just in case you don't know, there's a real Italian bakery in Ocala. The name is a Magnolia Bakery, and they make a hard crust of bread, also known as Italian bread. Don't forget the pastries and the cakes too. And they have hot and cold lunch on Tuesday through Friday. So when you spend $8, you get free pizza dough or bread. So call your order in ahead and save the time. Call 352-207-2667. Magnolia Bakery on a Magnolia Avenue in Ocala. 352-207-2667.
All right. Hey, what tempts you? What tempts you? Robin, what tempts
Hershey
you?
bars, anything that's chocolate and ooey
Okay,
and
so
gooey.
you're at the checkout line in the grocery store,
Yeah.
and the Hershey bar is right there.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it's saying to you, buy me, right?
Oh, yeah. It doesn't take me long.
So I've seen you at a casino. Mm-hmm. I know you're tempted by those one-armed bandits.
I am.
You are. Now, you and I have never walked down any of the streets in Amsterdam, but I'm guessing...
There you go. You'll be tempted by that district.
I'm guessing it'll be... But the safe one is the bakery. You know, you walk past the bakery, right?
Yeah.
And you see that Long John with the powdered sugar on it.
Yeah.
You see that elephant ear with the dipped in chocolate, right?
That's right.
You see a cream puff, an eclair.
Cannolis.
What do you see? Oh, cannoli? Cannoli. Is that your weakness, cannoli? Okay. So I don't want to tempt you without giving you something. Joe gave us something to give to you. We've got $10. He gave me a $10 bill, and you can come pick it up. Here it is. It's worth a $10 bill. It's for the Magnolia Bakery at 1412 North Magnolia Avenue. It's actually printed on yellow paper, but it is worth $10 at Magnolia Bakery. So it's just like having a $10 bill.
That's
so
right.
if I give you a $10 bill and I said to you, go into the bakery and just get whatever you want, you'd come out with some good stuff, right?
Oh, yeah. Cream puffs, that's my first go-to.
Cream puff?
Cream puffs.
All right, so cream puffs.
I love them.
Let's go get some cream puffs.
And then a chocolate eclair.
All right, if you are out there, I know I can't give something to everybody, but we try our hardest. We just gave a book away, and that book was popular. Everybody wanted that. Tell us.
That's right, exactly.
All right.
But Magnolia Bakery is a gourmet Italian bakery and a catering deli, so there are deli items in there that might, catch your eye. So
I didn't know that.
You can.
All right, if you want the
$10,
call 622-9622. This is WOCA Ocala.
Fox News. I'm Chris Foster. New Zealand's Prime Minister, 6 days after a mass shooting at 2 mosques, announces a ban on many semi-automatic weapons and all high-capacity magazines.
I've had people unprompted tell me that they own guns, they use them for legitimate purposes, members of our rural communities, and they support what we're doing.
Jacinda Ardern says the ban on sales is in effect immediately, and there will be a buyback program to compensate current owners of the now illegal weapons. President Trump's been feuding on Twitter with one of his critics, attorney George Conway, the husband of White House counsel Kellyanne Conway. She's defending the president's attacks on her husband.
My husband also has been very critical of the president publicly, which is unlike him, just because he's traditionally been a very private person.
She spoke to Fox Business Network this morning. The president yesterday called her husband a stone-cold loser and the husband from hell. He responded, "You are nuts." This is Fox News.